true crime story about a teen killer who attacks his own family. Host, welcome to Crime Scene, a true crime series that explores the most shocking and intriguing crimes. I'm your host, Name. Today, we're going to tell the story of a teenager who committed a heinous crime against his own family. Let's dive into the case. The family host. Meet the Smith family, John, Mary, and their three children, Michael, Emily, and Benjamin. They were a seemingly ordinary family living in the suburbs of California. But behind closed doors, tensions were simmering. Interview with neighbor. Neighbor. The Smiths were a quiet family. They kept to themselves, but you could sense that something was off. The kids would often argue with their parents, and there were times when the police would show up at their doorstep. The attack host. On a fateful night in 2013, 17-year-old Benjamin Smith snapped. He had been arguing with his parents for weeks, and the tension had become unbearable. In a fit of rage, Benjamin grabbed a knife and attacked his family. Interview with Detective. When we arrived at the scene, we found John, Mary, and Emily with multiple stab wounds. Michael, the eldest son, was found dead in his bedroom. It was a horrific scene, and it was clear that the killer was someone who knew the family intimately. The investigation host. The police launched an investigation, and soon they had a suspect, Benjamin Smith. He had a history of violent outbursts, and witnesses reported seeing him arguing with his family on the night of the attack. Interview with Detective. We found evidence of Benjamin's guilt at the crime scene, including a bloody knife and a torn piece of fabric that matched his clothing. It was clear that he was the killer. The trial host. Benjamin Smith was arrested and charged with 4 counts of murder. His trial was highly publicized, with many wondering how a teenager could commit such a heinous crime against his own family. Interview with prosecutor. We presented a strong case against Benjamin, including eyewitness testimony and physical evidence. The jury deliberated for several hours before returning a guilty verdict. The sentence host. Benjamin Smith was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. His family was left to pick up the pieces and try to make sense of the tragedy that had occurred. Interview with family member. Family member. It's been a difficult road to recovery, but we're trying to heal and move forward. We'll never forget what happened, but we're trying to find a way to forgive. Conclusion. Host. The case of Benjamin Smith is a shocking reminder of the destructive power of anger and violence. It's a tragedy that will haunt the Smith family for the rest of their lives. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Crime Scene. Host. Benjamin Smith's case raised many questions about the factors that contribute to violent behavior in teenagers. Was it a result of mental health issues, or was it a product of a troubled home life? Interview with psychologist. It's often a combination of factors that leads to violent behavior in teenagers. In Benjamin's case, it's clear that he had a history of anger issues and was struggling with his relationships at home. Update host. Benjamin Smith is currently serving his life sentence at a maximum security prison in California. His case has been the subject of several documentaries and true crime podcasts. Interview with prison official. Benjamin has been a model prisoner, but he's also been involved in several altercations with other inmates. It's clear that he still struggles with anger issues. Final thoughts, host. The case of Benjamin Smith is a sobering reminder of the devastating consequences of violent behavior. It's a tragedy that will haunt the Smith family for the rest of their lives. The end.